The Baltimore Ravens are coming off of another strong season where they went 12-5. Quarterback Lamar Jackson had another MVP type season for the Ravens, finishing with 4,170 yards, 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and a career high 8.6% touchdown percentage. This, resurgence with Lamar and his passing game ultimately was helped from Derrick Henry, the big addition on the ground game, finishing with 1,900 yards and 16 tutties on the ground. Pair him with Lamar Jackson, and this offense was completely unstoppable for a majority of the year. We also saw big steps forward from Zay Flowers and Rashod Bateman in the receiving game, which really helped them, and they have one of the best tight end duos in Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews. Despite the defensive coordinator loss of Mike McDonald, this defense had an incredibly slow start to start the season, being one of the worst defenses in expected points, and then eventually turning themselves into one of the best defenses in the NFL over the second half of the season. The Ravens finished third in points for and then ninth in points against. This led them to another playoff appearance where they were expected to go make a really good run, challenge the Chiefs for a Super Bowl, and they wound up facing the Bills in the divisional round, and we all know how that went. Lamar Jackson didn't play as good as he should have in that playoff game. They didn't necessarily play from ahead much of that game, and we all saw what happened at the end with Mark Andrews and the key drop. The same story seems to hold true with this Baltimore Ravens team, is that they can't get over the hump in the playoffs despite great regular season performances from Lamar Jackson and crew year in and year out. Let's take a look at how their 2025 offseason and draft class could set themselves up for their first Super Bowl since Joe Flacco was the quarterback. Heading into the offseason, the Ravens definitely had their priorities in free agency. Ronnie Stanley, their left tackle, was a free agent and a guy that they definitely wanted to bring back. He had probably the best market for him out of any left tackle available, and the Ravens were able to retain him. He struggled with injuries, but he's a significant upgrade over anybody they could have added this offseason, as he was the tackle one. As far as other players go, you have Patrick McCarty, a versatile offensive lineman who performed very well for this team. He's on the outs, and he's ultimately not going to be there. He's going to be in Jacksonville next year. Outside of that, Brandon Stevens was another key loss for this team in free agency. Ultimately, though, they did go make some decent moves in free agency. I think like smaller moves that make a small impact, but solid moves in my end. DeAndre Hopkins getting more of that possession, third down, move the chains type of receiver that varies from the skill sets of Rashod Bateman and Zay Flowers, which can help this team. I think Cooper Rush is a steady backup, and Lamar Jackson has missed some games in the past, and I think having a guy like Cooper Rush elevates the ceiling of this Ravens team on a consistent basis, because without Lamar, sometimes this team falters and does not live up to the talent on this roster. They were able to basically retain everybody else and, keep this strong Ravens core, which is one of the best young rosters in the NFL, together, which is something that I think a lot of people wanted to see. The biggest news, though, is the signing of Jair Alexander that just came in the past week. Jair, obviously one of the top, I wouldn't say top corners in the NFL anymore. He had a 72 grade from PFF, but he is one of the most notable corners in the NFL, and he struggled with injuries over the past few seasons, leading to a release from Green Bay, and they were not able to retain him. The Ravens making a bigger pitch, with Lamar Jackson being a significant part of that pitch to bring him over. While Jair Alexander isn't necessarily the household name, consistent all-pro type corner that we once saw from him for the Green Bay Packers, I want to show you guys some tape of Jair Alexander still having the instincts and the skills to be a really solid cornerback in this Ravens rotation in 2025. Jair Alexander is still a game-changing piece in the secondary, and I want to show 2 interceptions that just use his ability in zone coverage to go make plays. The Ravens love to run zone coverage a majority of the time. They will use that very much this next season. You see Jair right here make a big-time play where he is down here, not even covering A.J. Brown, realizes what's going on in this play with Hurts trying to take a look, is able to work back, make a big-time interception in the red zone, causing a Eagles drive to stall out. On the next play here, you'll see him against his new teammate, DeAndre Hopkins, at the bottom of the screen. Will Levis just gives him a gift right here, but he is able to make a really good break on this ball by his positioning right here, understanding where Hopkins is trying to go, what the Titans are trying to do in this offense. Jair just has great instincts, and it shows still on his tape. Then the last 2 plays, I want to show that despite the injuries, he's still incredibly athletic and breaks on the ball very well. You can see instinctually, yes, I showed you that, but in terms of like matching routes, this is A.J. Brown right here working in. Jair's right on his hip, able to make a good play on the ball. Hurts doesn't throw a great ball here, but we see Jair able to break pretty much basically ahead of A.J. Brown, knowing what he's about to do. Really good instincts, stay on his hip, make a good time play. Then on the next play right here, you'll see Jair down in the bottom of your screen against Marvin Harrison Jr. Use his physicality, press him at the line, make a good play on the football, breaking this pass up. And finally here, you're going to see his ability to still work on jump balls, make really good breaks in the football right there, breaking up a big-time route that could have been a touchdown on this play. The tape does not lie. Jaire still has the instincts and skills he's always had at the cornerback position, which provides a great rotation for this Baltimore Ravens defense. We've seen Marlon Humphrey operate on the outside and the slot throughout his career in Baltimore, starting in the slot and playing more on the outside over the last few seasons. He will bump back to the slot this year. Honestly, probably the best slot cover guy in the NFL. Humphrey's been great for his career and had 6 interceptions last year. We all know Nate Wiggins, their first round pick from last year, stepped in and really got better as the season went along. He will be the outside corner. And then you have Jaire as the other outside corner. I mean, this Ravens quarterback room is loaded. And let's say Jair Alexander is not as healthy, like he has been the past few seasons. You just roll Marlon Humphrey back out there and you find a cheaper option in the slot that can go potentially fill in. And there's some guys still in free agency still available that, they can go make that happen. I think the way you look at this Baltimore Ravens secondary is they struggled so much last year. They're setting themselves up to not fail with the guys they bring out there. Even if there's injuries, they can still plug and play guys and have a lot of success in that secondary. Let's talk about their draft class now. And their draft class was one of the more impressive parts of their 2025, retooling phase of this roster. They went out, drafted Malaki Starks, who was ranked my number 11th prospect in the draft, and they got him at 27th overall. It felt like all the teams that had really good years last year were able to secure top end talent in the secondary. And it was nice to see, especially for a Baltimore Ravens fan. The Ravens needed a over the top safety. I mean, we've seen now Marcus Williams really struggle for a few seasons. Malaki Starks alongside Kyle Hamilton playing a little bit more of the box like he did towards the end of the year or the middle half of the year last year is what is going to feed families. I mean, Starks is an over the top ball hawk type safety, really good in zone coverage, can also play well against the run. And him paired with Kyle Hamilton forms a top safety tandem if Starks can live up to the potential that he had at Georgia. The other draft pick I really liked was Mike Green. Green was rated as my 5th prospect, and he fell all the way into the late 2nd round due to some character concerns. Green is an unbelievable talent off the edge. He had crazy production in college, 10 plus sacks in 3 years at Marshall, a smaller school. He wins with bull rushes, he wins with finesse, and he's also pretty stout against the run as well. He also has a frame that you want to see from a defensive end at 6'5". Mike Green is the real deal. Now, the character concerns and the off the field stuff is legit. Like, there's a reason a talent like Mike Green has fallen as far as he did. But if you're the Baltimore Ravens and you take a risk like that on a player in the 2nd round, it's no big deal. And if he doesn't pan out, it's fine. You just kind of roll out the same rotational edges that you had last year. Kyle Van Noy had a really solid season for them. But then if you add Mike Green to that mix, I mean, this defense is absolutely unbelievable and has no weaknesses right now. And that's exactly what you want to see on the Baltimore Ravens side of things. As far as the offensive line goes, this is definitely a position that they tried to address with Emory Jones and Garrett Dellinger coming over from LSU to help fill some holes with, Patrick McCarty leaving and necessarily, not great production out of some other positions, especially at the guards heading into this year. It looks like Jones and Dellinger will both be playing guard. Jones played tackle in college. I'm not sold that these guys will be production pieces for them, but the Ravens definitely, their weakest point in their team is their offensive line heading into 2025. All right, let's take a look at the Baltimore Ravens 2025 schedule right here. It's not necessarily the easiest. I mean, you should expect that as you win the division every year and you're going to play first place teams. They open up at Buffalo, a playoff rematch, which is going to be one of the best games. That'll be on Sunday Night Football, and I absolutely can't wait for the season to start. Those are the games that we look forward to. The Browns always give them a tough test, but should be a nice, easy win there. Then they have the Lions and the Chiefs back-to-back, which is not ideal. They have really, realistically, have a chance at going 1-3 through the first 4 weeks of the season. And if they go 2-2, I don't think you should be upset if you're Baltimore fans. I mean, this is an incredibly tough point in your schedule between those 4 teams. Ultimately, I think if they walk away with a win against the Chiefs and they are 1-3 or 2-2, Ravens fans are going to feel really, really good about themselves, as that game means a little bit more, and so does that Buffalo game after last year's playoff loss. But I think the Ravens match up really well once again against the Bills. I think against the Lions this year, they're going to match up very well as well. So we'll see what happens. But I think that first 4 game stretch, if the Ravens start off slow, you might see in the media, oh, the Baltimore Ravens are washed. They're not as good. No, guys, it's just they have an incredibly tough start to the season, and they're eventually going to heat up down the stretch here. You look at this middle stretch before their bye week, which is another thing I want to mention, a little bit concerning there. They have the Texans and the Rams, both playoff teams. I think the Rams they match up well against, but I do like the Rams as a sneaky Super Bowl team. After their bye week, though, things ease up between this 5 game stretch right here with the Bears, Dolphins, Vikings, Browns, and Jets. The Vikings are going to be a really, really good matchup for this Ravens team as they struggled to make big time moves on the ground that'll help them for this year. After that, you got really good matchups against the Bengals and Steelers here, which are going to be really deciding factors in this division race. It feels like if the Ravens get off to a slow start and to close the year, you have the Patriots, Packers, and Steelers. I think they match up really good against the Packers, so it isn't necessarily a big one there. I think versus the Patriots as well, they match up extremely well. And then the Steelers, we'll see what happens. We know the Ravens don't necessarily perform as well against the Steelers on a consistent basis, but I think ultimately their schedule is pretty tough. But this Ravens team still has the juice to go out there and win 12 to 13 games this year. Might be off to a slow start with a tough schedule ahead, but this roster is absolutely geared up for a really, really good 2025 season. All in all, the Baltimore Ravens have set themselves up for success in the 2025 season by retooling this roster with a great draft by getting Malaki Starks, Mike Green, and some offensive linemen from LSU that could provide some high upside for this team. As far as free agency goes, they didn't lose much, and they added some smaller key pieces and veterans like DeAndre Hopkins and Jair Alexander to help improve this roster heading into the season. We all know the Ravens are talented, and that's not what we question. It is whether or not they can get it done in the postseason. This team has the talent to. I think this is the year we could finally see the Ravens and Lamar Jackson host a Lombardi trophy. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If this Ravens team can be the one to take them to the next level and win their first Super Bowl since the Joe Flacco and Ray Lewis days in Baltimore. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for more Blitz Sports Media content, and I'll catch you guys next time.